Въпреки че съвременните учени едва сега започват да разбират този цитат от Тесла, древните цивилизации по света са знаели за силата на звука, честотата и вибрациите от хиляди години.
Have you ever thought about how sound is more than a fleeting vibration in the air? What if it is in sound that holds the key to unlocking the deepest mysteries of the universe? Could it be that the very essence of reality is woven of frequencies? Or that the phenomena we consider miraculous can actually be understood through the hidden language of sound? In fact, let me correct myself. The natural language of sound. From the mantras in ancient temples to the everyday noises we constantly hear around us, sound is ever present, but often overlooked force. Though we may take sound for granted, great minds like Nikola Tesla and Pythagoras have turned their attention to understanding its profound meaning. But why were they so captivated by the properties of sound? Are there things that they knew that we would be the first to discover? And can certain sounds or frequencies heal the body, or even transmute our consciousness? All of this and the sacred secrets of sound in the new episode of Hidden Reality and Part 1. Welcome. In the essence of all religions and spiritual teachings, we can discover how the ancients used the power of words. This power has been used in the form of prayers for Christians and Muslims, mantras for Hindus and Buddhists, and chants for shamanic traditions. All this shows us how words and vibrations have tremendous power, that the ancients often used for many purposes. This episode and the next, which are dedicated to the power of sound, will look at more than just ancient practices, but also scientific discoveries about the power of vibration, how scientists are now using vibrations and frequencies to alter and reprogram the DNA of living things, and how Tibetans used sound to levitate and transport heavy stones. There is no one who has not heard these phrases from the Bible. In the Christian tradition, it is often said in the beginning was the Word, alluding to the power of God's speech to manifest the world. But this concept is far from unique to Christianity. In ancient Egypt, it was believed that Ptah, the god of craftsmen, architecture, and technology, first imagined the world in his heart, and then uttering it materialized it. Similarly, Hinduism teaches that in the beginning it was Brahman with whom was the Word. And the Word was really the supreme Brahman, putting the power of sound back at the center of creation. In the Jewish tradition, the first letter Aleph symbolizes the exhalation or sound that propels the course of creation. This concept is not limited to theologies from the Eastern and Western worlds. Many tribes also emphasize the power of sound in their creation myths. For example, the Pueblo Indians believed that a spider brought the world into existence. With Aztec mythology, Quetzalcoatl used vibrations from the conch shell to form the first wave of life. In Hindu legend, the beat of the raven's wings gave life to the world and the waters. Almost worldwide, creation myths guide us that sound is not just random, but fundamental to the creation of the universe. Everything owes its existence solely and entirely to sound. Sound is vibration, resonance, energy, which is the stable basis for form and matter, The vibrating energetic sound that manifests the universe is known by many names. In the Bible, it is known as the Word or Amen. In Egyptian mythology, it is known as Amun. In Hinduism, it is known as Om or Om. In fact, it turns out it's more correct to pronounce it Aom instead of Om because it consists of 3 sounds. Ah, oh, and the sound which is represented by the letter A, represents the creative vibration through which the universe manifests. The sound O, which is represented by the letter U, represents the vibration that preserves the manifested universe. The sound mind, which is represented by the letter M, represents the vibration that dissolves the manifested universe so that it can return to the source. If we really think about it, Aum or the word is the origin of all sounds and languages. Therefore, anyone who has aligned his vibration perfectly, as far as possible of course, with the vibration of Aum, can understand all languages, including but not limited to the languages of men, animals, and atoms. When the voice of the source changes from high to low, it causes the energy to transform into atoms and then into gas molecules. The gas molecules then turn into water and matter. The reality that there is only one source, or, as the ancients wrote, the eternal and unmanifested spirit that exists beyond time and space. Why beyond time and space? Because they themselves may approach or tend to infinity, but they are not wholly infinite. In order for the source to know itself, it scatters into an infinite number of pieces of reality. Some of these pieces may appear to be solid matter, but they are actually energy. They are vibration. They are frequency oscillations. Physicists today are proving that matter is made of energy and vibration, and their research shows that matter is not solid. Since the time of Jesus, it has taken mankind nearly 2,000 years to understand that matter is made of energy and vibration. However, saints, prophets, sages, and yogis, as well as the authors of the Bible, knew that all matter manifests through cosmic sound, also known as the Word, and that Spirit uses the cosmic sound to transform energy into matter. When he sings the song of creation, he causes energy to vibrate and dance to the tune, creating sacred geometric patterns. Therefore, all matter manifests through the cosmic sound of the Holy Spirit. Without the cosmic sound, also known as the Word, nothing can be made, and therefore matter cannot exist.
If you want to understand the secrets of the universe, that you have to think of it in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration.
Remarkably, the importance of sound is also extremely important in human development. The inner loco is the first sensory organ to develop in the human embryo, which underlines the importance of sound from the earliest stages of life. As the cochlea matures, around the 16th to 24th week, all 5 senses begin to activate. However, because of the aquatic environment in the fetus, sound becomes the primary sense as it travels 5 times more efficiently through the water than through the air. This sensory experience is very essential. The auditory nerve has 3 times more connections to the brain than the optic nerve. It plays a vital role in the nervous system. Further underscoring its importance, we know that sounds and voices from the environment, especially from mother and father, become essential to the neurological development of the infant.
That sound is essential for the development of the fetus.
Cultures around the world have long recognized the power of sound in rituals for both birth and death. Practices often include music, oral prayers, or chants to ease these critical thresholds. It is believed that these sounds may be our most direct line of communication with Source. For example, Aboriginal people, the oldest still existing culture on Earth, used a musical instrument called the didgeridoo, made from carved tree roots. According to them, the sounds made by the didgeridoo connect us to Dreamtime, the spiritual realm where our ancestors live. They also speak of song lines, vibratory times you'll notice laid down by the primordial beings who continue to guide them. For Aboriginal people, these songs are far from simply historical. They are a constant practice that maintains the structure of the world. The question comes, is it possible that our auditory senses are more reliable guides to reality than the eyes we so bravely trust? In Eastern cultures, the ear is considered more receptive, yin and feminine, while the eyes are considered more active, carrying the yang energy. The current age in which we live emphasizes more yang or visual information than the information we receive. Like being receptive and listening, or at least trying to. But if we decide to experiment and see which sense would more correctly guide us, we will see that if we hear two tones that are 1 hertz apart, we can hear the difference as a kind of pulsing binaural beat. But if we look at 2 colors that are 1 nanometer apart, we can't see the difference visually. That is to say, that the ears are much more precise at picking up minute differences in the environment. DNA consisting of 4 nucleotide bases, adenine, cytosine, guanine, and thymine, can be viewed as a symphony of genetic information. Each base has a distinct role in determining the genetic instructions that shape the organism. Suzumo Ono's groundbreaking research into translating DNA sequences into melodic compositions opens the door to a realm of unexplored possibilities. By linking specific musical notes to nucleotide bases, Ono reveals inherent musicality, encoded in our genetic blueprint. But then follows the logical question. If DNA can be translated into music, can music in turn affect or change our DNA? Sound, as we already know, has a mass and has the ability to move matter. As we delve deeper into the study of cymatics, we will talk about this in detail in the next section and explore the potential effects of music on DNA. We can begin to uncover the possibility of using music as a healing tool. Speech and sounds appear as an acoustic wave recorded in DNA at the molecular level. The acoustics of DNA actually resemble speech. It is built according to the same laws. That is why we say it is the speech of the Creator. The sound that DNA makes depends on its origin. The information in DNA sets the vector of development of cells, organs, and the whole body, while constantly providing the body with the opportunity to return to certain periods and to re-record the program text again. The voice of DNA molecules depends on the sympathy of RNA molecules. The acoustic fluctuations of DNA change abruptly when heated. If the signal of DNA in its normal state resembles music, then at temperatures close to the high peaks in the curves of graph, like a desperate SOS signal, the subsequent rise in temperature when liquid crystals melt for hereditary information leads to the appearance chaos of sounds. The sound is similar to that of an orchestra tuning instruments before a concert. Garyaev was able to record the radio wave singing of DNA molecules. So he discovered that in the presence, a chosen constraint, given a choice, the chaos of the multiplicity of instruments becomes the melody of existence. Constraint is the organizer, composer, and conductor of those instruments it has chosen to be present in its melody of existence.
DNA molecules produce a continuous sound. They create a complex melody with recurrent musical phrases.
To put it another way, it is his choice of parallel reality that he chooses, organizes, composes, and conducts. The versions of these melodies of existence are infinite. A few of them slow and prolonged, others fast and rhythmic. It's all a matter of choice for the organizer, who is also the composer and the conductor. This wave energy of a symphony is heard acoustically as a scalar proton plus field through the cells and the body, in combination with the emotions and meanings attached, to shape each frame of parallel reality for the experience, which we experience. In scientists' research, there are also confirmations that the speech of the Creator is recorded in DNA, which is in fact each unique individuality. The researchers on Garjaev's team also discovered that photons turn into radio waves, and the radio wave spectra of DNA and human speech have many characteristics in common. Thus, photons transformed into radio waves shape the acoustics of DNA, which actually resembles speech. In the beginning it was speech. It was built according to exactly the same laws, for this can be said to be the speech of the Creator. The sound that DNA emits depends on its origin. Grasshopper DNA of the tree or the human will emit different sounds, words, and phrases. With every element of everything in the three-dimensional world, a proton field is recorded. The interaction of the individual creator, who posits choice as the primary information for the melody of existence. Does music really have healing power? Since ancient times, music has been used with the idea of healing and restoring the body. Grass cultures recognize the therapeutic effects of certain melodies and rhythms, using music to promote physical and emotional well-being. In recent years, scientific research has confirmed the physiological effects of music, revealing its potential to influence various bodily functions. We are the first to begin to explain the power of frequencies and vibrations around us, and the ancients practiced it thousands of years before us. The paradox is that they didn't argue about what worked, what is proven and what is not, but they experienced it in action, manifesting the chosen reality. It is now proven that listening to music has measurable effects on heart rate, blood pressure, stress hormone levels, and even immune system activity. These findings suggest that music has the remarkable ability to interact with physiological processes, influencing our overall health and well-being. Thus, and if music can have such a significant impact on these physiological aspects, we can assume that it can also have the potential to affect our DNA on a molecular level. The vibrational frequencies present in music may hold the key to its potential influence on DNA. DNA itself, as we have already seen, has inherent vibrational frequencies, and disturbances in these frequencies can lead to genetic mutations or imbalances. And by the same token, by aligning specific musical frequencies with the vibrational frequencies of DNA. It is possible for music to restore harmony and balance to our genetic code. How does this happen? Research in bioacoustics suggests that certain frequencies and harmonies can resonate with certain parts of the body. Just as a skilled musician tunes his instrument to produce harmonious sounds, it is possible for music, when carefully composed and tuned, can produce resonances that interact with the vibrational frequencies of our DNA. Studies have shown that music therapy can affect gene expression by altering gene activity associated with our response to stress, inflammation, and immune function. So, music has the ability to initiate changes by modifying gene expression patterns without altering the underlying DNA sequence. To clarify, the field of epigenetics studies factors outside the DNA sequence that can influence gene expression, meaning the manifestation of genes. External factors such as signs from the environment around you and lifestyle choices can change the way genes are expressed. Sound as a form of stimulus may also be capable of causing epigenetic changes in ourselves. Furthermore, recent research has shown that sound waves can influence cellular activity. For example, specific frequencies have been found to stimulate or inhibit cell growth, influence protein synthesis, and even modulate the release of neurotransmitters.
The cell starts to take on a kind of a resonance, a frequency, we could say a sound even.
We can amplify its waves, making it so large that it will eventually break or destroy itself. One such example is when we stimulate a wine glass with a frequency that corresponds to its resonant frequency, said in scientific language. And so at some point, it breaks. Of course, here it is important to add a parenthesis that we cannot literally break a particle or an element. We can only cause it to transform. The challenge of seeing that transformation sometimes looks like breaking. The fact that the glass has broken into thousands of mini pieces that we can't even see doesn't mean that it is gone, is destroyed. It is just transformed into other elements. But within the example, of course, when an opera singer, you've seen it many times in the movies, the internet has it, sings a particular frequency, well, many parts lined up on top of each other start to break, and the moment when you see it is extraordinary. Using the same principle, in 1938, a scientist named Dr. Royal Raymond Riff cured 16 terminally ill cancer patients. In short, Dr. Royal Rife designed a healing device using only electromagnetic frequencies to target and destroy any disease. This discovery was supposed to completely change the medical industry. But for unknown reasons, this information was suppressed by the mainstream media and the pharmaceutical industry. Why? Even though a massive campaign was conducted to cover up the results, many other scientists confirmed Riff's discovery by testing his device for frequent treatment. The result was the elimination of 60% of cancer cells from patients by the power of resonant frequencies alone. How loud is the sound? Although this technology is not currently officially accepted and recognized, recently a music professor named Anthony Holland, who is a composer, interested in the physical effects of sound, began to study the effects of sound frequencies on microbiology. Dr. Holland formed a non-profit organization for this purpose and began his experiments with harmless microorganisms such as paramecium. What he discovered was that just like the wine glass, a certain combination of two related frequencies would completely disrupt the target cells. After this experiment, he started looking for the frequencies that could destroy cancer cells. So, after a year of research, just like Royal Riff, he discovered the frequencies to fight pancreatic cancer and leukemia cells. In various experiments, he successfully destroyed 60% of the cells, just as Royal Riff did. But this is not new. A case of using sound to achieve healing and supernatural results can be found in almost all ancient civilizations. Shamans, for example, used various tools and rituals for healing purposes thousands of years ago. Since this is the case, and we are now aware of the concept of resonant frequency, it has certainly changed our understanding of the power of mantras. The specific instruments and sound rituals performed by ancient civilizations. They're not some waterworks. They are pure science used by the ancients. Ancient cultures used the metaphor that the universe is actually a cosmic symphony, a singing song of the source. Because ancient wisdom is consistent with modern science, this concept is supported by quantum mechanics, string theory and cogitality, which also boldly envision the idea that the cosmos is a kind of symphony of vibrations. Many ancient cultures have believed that our real purpose is actually to play our unique melody as perfectly and naturally as possible, so that we might expand all that is, so that all that is can expand itself thanks to us. Is sound the cause of creation? Or is it the effect of creation? What if they flow into each other? In what way does sound affect matter? And is it possible to lift objects only with the power of sound? All these answers and more in the next episode of Hidden Reality. Thanks for being with us again.